Good morning, children. This is 8th Science, Chapter 6, Conservation of Biodiversity. Today we are going to cover the topic, and that is protected areas. So, protected areas, they are the particular region in which the the biodiversities are protected, in which the biodiversities are properly maintained. By biodiversity, we mean the flora that is found in that particular region, right? The fauna that is found in that particular region. So, protected areas, they are the region in which the flora, the plants, the fauna, the animals are protected, they are maintained. And along with that, the natural resources, that is, if any river is present, that river is protected over there. If you have a waterfall over there, that is taken care of. The cultural resources, if you have an old monument over there, that is even maintained, that is protected. If you have a temple over there, that is all protected in the protected areas. So protected areas, they are the areas dedicated for the protection and maintenance of biodiversity along with the natural and cultural resources. So, the protected areas can be broadly classified into three parts. First is the national park, second are the wildlife sanctuaries, and the third are the biosphere reserves. So, we will study them one by one. First is national parks. National parks, they are the areas which are kept for the protection of, which are reserved for the protection of wildlife. So children, in wildlife, flora is included, fauna is included, any natural environment, any natural resource is included, any historic object, any historic monument, any temple, they are all protected in this area. So that area is known as national park. So national park are the areas which are reserved for the protection of wildlife. Now, in this national park, the following activities are totally banned. First one is grazing. That is the grazing of the cattle in these areas. That is prohibited. Hunting of plants and animals is strictly banned over here. Forestry, that is collection of wood or collection of any medicinal things, collection of gum, collection of any forest item is totally banned here. Cultivation, that is the production of crops, the agriculture is also not allowed over here, right? And national parks, they cannot be owned by any private members, they are the property of government, right? So that is a national park, and we are aware of a very famous national park which is in Rajasthan, and that is your Ranthambore National Park, right children? And we have also heard about the Jim Corbett National Park, which is present in Uttarakhand. Yes, and a place nearby to us, that is the Uttar Pradesh, that is Dundwa National Park, right? The next protected area, and it is a wildlife sanctuary. So wildlife sanctuaries, they are the areas wherein the only animals are protected here, right? So only animals are protected. So that area, that protected area is known as your wildlife sanctuary. So in wildlife sanctuary, the killing as well as the capturing of animals is totally restricted. It is totally banned. Few activities are allowed in this area to some extent, that is harvesting the timber. Harvesting the timber beta means collection of the wood. Second is collection of minor forest products, that is collection of medicinal plants, collection of gum, collection of honey. So this minor forest product collection is allowed, but that also to some extent only. Now we may feel that animals are protected in zoo also. Then what is the difference between the animals in the zoo or in a wildlife sanctuary? Beta, that is a very big difference, and that is over here. Zoo. In zoo, the humans interfere. They create an environment for the animals. Humans create करते हैं. So the environment that is created in zoo by the humans, that is not natural environment. That is a artificial environment. So in zoo, the animals are kept in an artificial environment. But in wildlife sanctuaries, the animals live in natural environment and they are protected in that areas, right children? Second point, in zoo, the animals are kept in enclosures. They are kept in caves, right? But in wildlife sanctuaries, the animals are free to roam in a very large area without any restriction. And moreover, zoo is an exhibition of animals where the humans interfere. But in wildlife sanctuaries, the interior of the wildlife sanctuaries, the human interference is not allowed here. So this is the basic difference between the zoo and a wildlife sanctuary. Next is our biosphere reserve. This is our biosphere reserve. So beta, biosphere reserve is also a protected area, right? It is a very large protected area, right? In which many national parks are there, in which wildlife sanctuaries also may be included, right? And it is a very multi-purpose type of thing, right? Here the wildlife are protected, they are conserved, the animals, the plants, the microorganisms, and along with that the tribals who are living in that area, they are also protected, right? So here in biosphere reserve, people, they play a very important part over here, right? They are a very important component of the reserve. So these biosphere reserves, why are they developed? They are developed to conserve the biodiversity and maintain ecological balance so that the plants, the animals, they are protected. And if plants, animals, microorganisms all are protected, then the balance of the environment will be maintained, and so ecological balance would be maintained. So for this purpose, biosphere reserves are developed. Next is to maintain the culture of a particular area. To maintain the culture of that particular area, that is to create the love and affection towards the plants, the animals, the natural resources that are found over there. For that also biosphere reserves are developed. And in biosphere reserves, the tribals who are living in the areas nearby, they are also permitted to live there. So only people are an important component of a reserve. Now, a biosphere reserve, it may consist of national parks as well as sanctuaries. For example, the Panchmari Biosphere Reserve. It consists of one national park in it, that is Satpura National Park, and it has two wildlife sanctuaries as well. One is Bori Wildlife Sanctuary and other is Panchmari Wildlife Sanctuary. So biosphere reserve is a very large protected areas, right? It is a very large protected area. One more example we can have for that, that is the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. So it has in it two national parks, that is Bandipur National Park and Nagarhole National Park. So this is your biosphere reserve. Now, Project Tigers. Project Tiger. This is this was an initiation by the government of India. Government of India launched a project in which the population of tigers was taken care of. The tigers were protected in this, and that project is known as Project Tiger. What happened is the government observed that the population of tigers in India was decreasing. It was going on declining, right? And there was drastic decline, there was drastic fall in the population of tigers. So the government of India was worried that these tigers, they are endangered species now. If this continues, a day will come that they will become extinct species, right? So in order to protect the tigers, the Project Tigers was launched by Government of India in 1973. The government saw that in 1948 the population of tiger was 20,000. But in 1989, we were left with only 4,000 tigers. And it did not stop here, children. In the year 2000, in the year 2000, the population of tiger was 1,233 only. So, under Project Tiger, the government of India made 47 tiger reserves in 18 Indian states. And in this tiger reserves, the tigers were protected. They were provided with natural habitat, that is shelter to live in. They were provided with food. They were provided with medicine. They were taken care of. And finally, the population of tiger increased to 1,706, and this was as it was reported in the year 2011. So Project Tiger is a very good initiative by Government of India to protect the tigers in our country. So children, this is the end of the chapter, and what we learn from the chapter is to conserve the biodiversity. Humans cannot survive alone on this planet. We require plants, animals, microorganisms, as well as the lithosphere, hydrosphere, the atmosphere, which are the non-living natural resources. So there has to be a balance between all of them. So a good balance will lead to the ecological balance, and with which we will be able to survive on the planet Earth. So children, let's take a oath to conserve the biodiversity. Okay, this was your chapter. I hope you have understood. Okay, children. Fine, children. Take care. Bye bye.